as a major stakeholder, you have just issued a statement. We've seen the statement by your chairman of your party, Ofosu Ampofo. What is the problem with this LI?
Thank you very much, and good morning to all our viewers and listeners. Let's begin with what I'll call the fundamentals.
Right.
So, the Electoral Commission was created to serve a particular purpose, and everything that we do should be based on the Constitution. If you look at Article 42 of the Constitution, and I read, it says, every citizen of Ghana of 18 years of age or above and of sound mind has the right to vote and is entitled, very critical, entitled, so it's an entitlement, to be registered as a voter for the purposes of public elections and referenda. So it is an entitlement. Then you come to 45. 45 talks about the functions of the commission, but E says to undertake programs for the expansion of the registration of voters. So if you look at these two provisions, it tells you that the framers of the Constitution had a certain motive in mind about the functions and the role of the Electoral Commission. First of all, the citizens that attain 18 are entitled, and the Electoral Commission has to make provision, create a conducive and congenial atmosphere to facilitate that registration. Now, what we are saying is that with this Ghana card proposition that they are making, first of all, if you look at the numbers, and the statistics is not even consistent, but what we have is that as of July, based on Ghana card NIA statistics, 16,654,072 people have been enrolled, 13,317,612 have been issued, and 3,023,918 have not been issued with their Ghana card. So there is a challenge, there is a problem. Now, the EC is always talking about its independence. And yet the EC is relying on another state entity, which is the NIA, whose CEO is appointed by the government, reports directly to the president. The EC has no control over the functions of the NIA, and yet is depending on that NIA card and making it the sole document. And if you look at the statistics, it shows clearly that over the years, they've not been able to meet their own targets. So what is the guarantee that at the end of the day, by the time they open the register, limited registration, it's time to vote, people who have turned 18 would have received their Ghana. This is trite logic. And that is why over the years, since 1993, provision is made that apart from the primary document, which in this case will be the NIA card, there should be some provision for other documents. And in the past, it was the driver's license, it was the Ghanaian passport, and the guarantor system. These are all systems that have been put in place to facilitate and make it easier for people to register. But this is insistence on an NIA card whose rollout is still ongoing with a lot of challenges, numerous challenges. I mean, the NIA themselves say that they have thousands of cards. They don't even know how to identify the people. The process, I mean, there are certain areas that do not have network connectivity. There's so many challenges. These challenges have not been addressed. So why is the EC insisting that it is only that NIA card that will be used for subsequent registrations? That is the crux of the matter.
Every year when we are getting to elections, the EC goes to Parliament to promulgate an LI to guide the elections. Mm-hmm. This time, they are doing it far in advance, so that is good enough. We have had situations where the LI comes just late in the day. Mm-hmm. And remember, during Afriyie-Ankrah's time, I think that was his last days, the LI that was made that omitted journalists to be given the opportunity to vote before election day. Before we knew, it had been passed, so you couldn't do anything about it. Now, your concern is that because the NIA has not yet captured all citizens. That's the reason using the NIA card, the Ghana card, is untenable. That's the basic concern.
So let me reiterate what I said. So you are insisting that the Ghana card should be the sole document for identification.
Right.
NIA over the years has had a plan to roll out. Don't forget that they told us that they were going to do instant issuing. They've not been able to do that. And based on their own projections, if you look at the numbers.
I got my card in 2018.
Okay.
Instant issuers.
Okay, but now it's a difficulty. When you go out there, you see the queues, you see the chaos. Okay, so there is no guarantee that they'll be able to issue out all these cards before the elections. And when an EC whose mandate is to create a conducive and congenial atmosphere to facilitate easy access to registration for people, whatever provisions they put in must be reasonable. Whether it's 1 year ahead of time, 2 years ahead of time, it has to be reasonable. This is not reasonable because the card you are depending on, the people who are supposed to give the card are not even ready. And Atefua recently, even with regards to the SIM card, said they will not be able to deploy so many cards. So there are issues and there are challenges about the ability of the NIA to deploy the cards within a certain time period. They've not even given us any guarantees. And indeed, if they even gave us guarantees, we cannot take them by their word because per their own proclamations earlier that they were going to do this within a certain period of time, they've not been able to do that. Yes. That is why for any reasonable person, if there's no ulterior motive, if there is no, why is it that in the past there's always provision being made that, look, in spite of the primary documents, you should have backup so that just in case somebody hasn't got that primary document, there is that opportunity for the person to register. Is that not a very reasonable, proposition to make?
You like the idea that we are rolling out the Ghana card?
Oh yes, we are not interested.
At the time, even the health insurance card was part of the identifiers. And through the Abu Ramadan line of cases, the Supreme Court struck it out. Now, in that decision, the Supreme Court had this to say. I want to hear what you have to say about it. Georgina Wood, who was Chief Justice, she's the one who wrote the judgment. And she concluded, a very last paragraph, that the need for a credible and reliable multipurpose national identification system comprising the relevant data and communication infrastructure that would answer to most of our national needs, whether for electoral, planning, or developmental, or other purposes, is greater than ever before. We think the time has come for the appropriate authorities to respond to this need. You agree with this?
I agree, but what has it been in this context?
When do we get to this place?
Basic common sense. At least let's finish with the NIA processes that we are sure that every Ghanaian, okay, the statistics says those who have enrolled, those who have been issued, those not issued, at least let's finish that process. And even after that process, there must be provision. After this ruling, when they took out the NIA, what were some of the other documents? The passport, the driving license, and then an existing voter ID card. And when it comes to enrollment on any database, Ghana is not an island. There are international standards, international provisions that determine how this is done. So Ghana is not an island. In every jurisdiction, when it comes to enrollment, there is a primary document and there is a secondary document. You can check all over the world. So what is this insistence on a Ghana card whose rollout is still not over? A Ghana card who the NIA themselves give us a schedule, give us a timetable they've not been able to fulfill. So common sense and logic will tell you that within the next 2 years, many people who are otherwise eligible would not have received their Ghana card. And so you are denying those people the opportunity to vote, to register to vote. And the law that set you up says that your job, 45E says, you must undertake programs for the expansion of the registration of voters. And what you are doing will rather limit registration of voters. Now let's talk about the challenges of the Ghana card. itself, many people, especially in the rural areas, where network connectivity is a challenge, are having difficulty. I'm sure your team have gone around and they've seen the queues of people and the chaos at the various Ghana card registration centers.